Greetings, any awesome one. Positive vibrations. That's the hot one today. So today I wanted to honor a divine midwife, and her name is Nonkululeko. That may be a mouthful for a lot of you, but it's good to take the time to pronounce people's names properly, and to ask what their name is to pronounce it properly. And this woman, that is a name that holds a lot of meaning. Today, she has transitioned to her ancestor, and her name is Nonkululeko. Greetings from Tennessee. And this woman was my midwife. Oh my gosh. I have a tendency, I call on certain people's names all the time. So some people may seem redundant. Why are you talking about Grandma Lou? I'm always talking about my godparents. Nonkululeko. There's certain people, I can count on less than two hands, but there's several people that have left such an impression on me. And the fact that they were not in a Bible story, they're not an anecdote, that they have walked this planet in the flesh, that I can say I have met someone that touched me, inspired me, gave me an example. If you have come across that, I invite you to take a moment to honor them and honor these people. My mother would say, give me my flowers while I'm here. And that is something, that's a practice that I do often, not just with elders. I don't wait for birthdays to honor people. I don't wait to give gifts. I don't wait to give acknowledgement. I think it's very important that you honor people while they're here. We have such a tendency to look back to these old time stories and not honor the people that are walking and living here in the flesh. And representation is very, very important. I have some water. To see people that look like you, and let's not get it twisted, I'm honored by all kinds of human beings that come in all kinds of packages and colors, and I'm unapologetic about that. There are times that human beings can be disappointing, but there are definitely many times where I'm inspired. I've been inspired by people that I work with from all walks of life, all kinds of packages. I can also tell you, though, that representation, it really does matter when you see people with hair that looks like you, because it's saying something to you, your skin tone that look like you. And so Nonkululeko was a registered nurse. She was a midwife. She was the founder of the Harlem Birth Action Committee. It was her practice. She was consistent from day one I met her. And these are several people that I have met in my life. She traveled around the world and the country studying midwifery and bringing all those gems back to the community, sharing them with others, sharing, different practices with other midwives around the world. But she came back to Harlem and to the States to encourage young women and young mothers to breastfeed and to educate mothers to be. But she made it a point to come back and basically look out for all those young mothers and to educate them on the importance of breastfeeding. This might seem like this is overly simple. So this is my baby. So I've been natural for a long time. I don't know if y'all can see that. But every time I look at this picture, I think of Nonkululeko. And I just decided to go one day and have a little photo shoot with my little baby, because I was so proud of my natural hair. I could never see myself wearing my crown any other way, because I felt so beautiful. But that whole experience, this woman made sure that I knew that, she said, it's your birth mother. She would say, it's your birth mother. She said, this is a rites of passage. You may never do this again. It's your birth. You can choose what position you want to be in. More convenient for you, not the doctor. What position you want to be in, what snacks you want to have, if you want massage on your back, the room, how the room is going to be set up, if you want to have the baby at home, if you want to have the baby in the hospital. She was such another example of a mother, and she was consistent like that to other people. So she's one of the few people in my life now that have transitioned to an ancestor, right? Now she's laid down this coat called the body. None of us really knows what happened. She's gone back to the source. Her life was lived so fully on purpose. And I call her name for several reasons also. Call her name to the universe. I just affirm prosperity for her daughters and her grandchildren and all the work she's done and has touched. I also call her name because this is also comes back and is connected to us. I'm a fitness coach, a chef, a personal trainer, like these different individuals that have touched me, like in ways that expand, that are exponential. Because many of us now, if we bring this back to a lot of our mindless habits, eating ourselves to the point of being uncomfortable, to the point where our body becomes distended, deformed, uncomfortable, you know, a lot of us are not living on purpose. And a lot of us, I'm not going to make it right or wrong. I don't have the power to. But I invite you to consider that part of the reason that we're so dejected and can't seem to stop these self-sabotaging habits is because we're not moving with a sense of urgency, not anxiety, not panic, but an urgency about our purpose. And there are clues. I can't tell grown folks what to do. I invite you to consider that there are clues around you as to your purpose. And your purpose may include several things. Obviously, my purpose includes sharing my passion around esteem, healthy esteem for people, but in particular Afro women, my hair, eating natural. These are things that stay on my radar. So I invite you to consider what things stay on your radar. I don't know if it's animals, herbs, fitness, being a doctor, making people laugh. Many of us are moving, numbed out, drunk on many different substances, distracted drunk, combo of distracted and drunk off of food. And I invite you in your quiet moments to have a healthy curiosity about why. Why? It could be a combination of things. Why don't I have the faith or the courage in myself to pursue art or whatever it is? It's something that's calling you that you want to be good at, but you may not have the confidence. So to have these individuals, my godparents, Grandma Lou, Nonkululeko, Tyoma, there's certain people I've seen my godparents are consistent to this day. My godmother had a six-pack when I met her, rocking her hair, living prosperously, giving to all, treating all people with respect from all walks of life. Took me to ashrams. My godparents were fasting every year. They look fantastic to this day. Afro people to this, consistent in their work. So they live the principles of Kwanzaa, have been feeding people off of culture, music, and dance. So I can say I've seen them with my own eyes, and they're still alive, consistent today. Are you on your purpose? Even if you don't know your purpose, you may have an idea now what is not your purpose. I invite you to get quiet, right? And to take some time in the early day, in the evening, different times of the day to relax. Because it is time, and shout out to Latrice in Tennessee and Kimberly. There's so many P's for detox, and those are some things that we go over in the cocoon. There's some resources I have, Whole Living Foods in the Hood. Those are available on Natural Beauty, no products. But I invite you to consider before, there's no shortage of teas. There's no shortage of workout programs. I invite you to consider that's not the foundation, because I could give you a quick fly-by-night recipe or something quick, a detox. That's a process. What comes first is this. It's this, because I invite you to consider the body, this intelligent, divine vehicle that we're walking around in, right? I've cut myself and it's healed. I've had a blemish and it heals. Do you realize the magnificence that it's healing all the time? That it's shedding skin and cells and waste all the time? So if it's clogged, I invite you to, before you add one more heart rate monitor, pair of sneakers, detox program, to get quiet and to consider your body has been communicating with you for the whole time. And we're random. It's like buying more and more clothes. And I'm bored. Let me bleach my hair. Let me do this to myself. Let me pluck my eyebrows, which is why I encourage you to get quiet and to sit with yourself. That is a detox. It's foundational. There's no short. I could give you teas. That's not, but I invite you after over 30 years in this realm, on this path, in this profession of food and fitness and nutrition, I invite you to consider that's not the root. Because have you ever done detox teas before? Have you done fast before? Have you done colonics before? Many of us have done. Have you taken laxatives before? I invite you to consider that's not at the root. I invite you to get to the root of the behavior. That's what the cocoon is for. And shadow work is for, to get to the root, to relax. So that we're not doing binge purge, right? And just taking teas or putting spirulina on top of doo-doo, putting spirulina on top of a self-sabotaging mindset. We're putting supplements on top of a self-sabotaging mindset, so then the body may have a reaction, but the deep stuff that's deep down in your intestines and your gut, a lot of times we don't get there, and that's a long process. There's a process. A lot of times we don't respect process. We're living in a time where everything is quick. We want it now. That's why it fizzles out. It doesn't have sustainability because it's not certain principles. And I'm not here to tell any grown folks what to do. I'm just one person. I can share my experience. That's it. You and I are 1,000% responsible for our lives. Whatever has even happened to us, whatever has been inflicted on us, we're responsible for our lives. So I call on Nonkululeko today. I call on this divine midwife. I drink water. I poured libation in her name. Libation, not just to the plants. I'm pouring libation into my own body. But when I think of her, I have a smile that comes to my face as well as tears. I'm so blessed to have come across her. She reminds me, she's yet another affirmation, another confirmation of, are you in alignment with your purpose? Are you in alignment? If you're not in alignment with your purpose, you might be taking more teas and drinking and eating more Doritos and eating more Entenmann's and eating more cakes and pies and maybe just putting a vegan name on it. And a lot of times we're consuming to soothe emotions, to ease it. If this is not your reason right here, to soothe the fact that in our back of our mind, we know we're out of integrity. With things that we say that we value that important, we are out of alignment, out of integrity. So rather than beat up on ourselves, which is in the long term, it's not effective. It's just not effective. And there's a difference between being firm and clear and beating up on ourselves. It doesn't work. When you feel bad, you're most likely going to want to medicate in order to not feel or to ignore or to be in ignorance of what is still going on, whether you are numb or not. So I invite you to consider, are you in alignment with your purpose? Are you taking any steps for a period of time during the course of your day? When you wake up, you're going to go into another state this evening, and you're going to wake up again on this side of the dirt and this plane. Are you in action around the things that you say are important? We got lots of time for herbal teas, but I invite you to consider, why do we need the herbal tea in the first place? What have we been consuming? What is the state of mind that we are in as we're consuming? Are we anxiety ridden? Because I can definitely tell you, even that all of us, even I can be affected, not can be, am affected by the things that are coming at me around this screen. I even had to, you're welcome. I realize in my quiet moments, I use any moment that I can, right? We only have so many hours in a day, so I'm very practical, right? And I think spirituality is responsibility and being very practical. So when I'm taking a shower, I use that as an opportunity for a meditation, a water meditation, as I'm letting the warm water run down on my neck and my back, or even if I decide to turn the water cool and cold to shake me awake. I use anything at my disposal. I will use anything, just like I will plant in any container. I will use any opportunity to get clear, to soothe myself, to use everything as a living, breathing meditation. Not everybody can go sit in the ashram or in the mountains or the hills. And even certain gurus will tell you the most blessings are given to those people that are not avoiding life, that are out here, the householders and the parents that make society run and have it function. Not everybody has the luxury to go into the mountains. So I invite you to make all of your chores and your childcare and your self-care. Those are opportunities for living, breathing meditation. And so when I'm letting that water run on me, it allows my mind to get quiet so I can hear. There's a communication that's going on all the time in me and in you and every human being on this planet, and it can't compete with the noise, right? Your own divine, on board, innate intelligence. It doesn't have a label. It's beyond any religion, beyond any guru. It is yours. It is your birthright. It's there. It's beyond even language. It's an intelligence that's communicating with us all the time, which is why I invite you to take moments to relax and just be quiet and to breathe. So simple. You don't even have to make it a big production. So I invite you to say, I'm taking tea to remove parasites, but I'm constipated. So more than likely, if you're constipated, right, I invite you to consider, what are you constipated with? How long have you been constipated? How long have you been going through constipating yourself? Has that been years, several years, right? None of us really, and this is not to be harsh, I'm just going to be real, none of us really wants to pay the bill. Like if you imagine going to a really nice restaurant, ordering everything on the menu, and you didn't have enough money to pay, or you was like, screw it, I'm going to sit down anyway. We may not be considering that every piece of entertainment and junk and substance I'm going to call substances masquerading as food, we will have to pay. If it went in, it's got to come out. I had cystic acne for years. I hated it. I used to have a ripped up body doing fitness competitions. My face was looking like the sidewalk. But I had to contend that everything that everybody else could do, maybe it wasn't affecting their body. It was affecting mine, even all the health junk from the health food store. So quite often, if our body temples are distended with too much adipose or fatty tissue, if it's stiff from a lack of activity, if we're injuring ourselves because we're doing too much too soon, we're not listening. If you're constipated and it took a while for you to plug up your tube with substances masquerading as food, or too much or too dry, then first relax and take accountability, right? Because you're like, why am I constipated? We know in our quiet moments, we've done certain things to ourselves, right? Maybe in reaction, and likely in reaction to stress, soothing ourselves using different flavorings and substances and crispy, fried, salty things to assuage and placate emotions, like a pacifier, right? And we've been conditioned to not be accountable to the physiological, mental, emotional effects of everything that we're consuming, even the things that we're consuming visually and auditory through our orifices, our ears and our eyes, through these screens. They're affecting your bloodstream. They're affecting your stomach knotting up. They're affecting making us compulsive. In addition to many of the traumatic experiences that we've all, pretty much most of us have experienced as children. Consider, right, that those things are also constipating energetically. And I'm not saying that in a spookadoo kind of way. I'm saying that in a very practical way. Before you put something in your mouth mindlessly or that you're not accountable for, that goes with a mentality. It's a mentality, right? We can say, I love. If we were to be quiet and turn down the volume, everybody's behavior starts looking the same. White, black, whatever your religion, the behaviors all look the same if you turn down the volume and you really look at the behavior. So the consistent actions of whatever we've been doing is what has yielded us here. And there's a mindset, there's a mentality, and most of the things that we're doing mindlessly are driven by a subconscious. Everything can't even fit in our conscious mind. We wouldn't be able to function. Every single thing that we do, and even your quiet moments, you know, without beating up on yourself, you know what you've done or what you've been doing. It's really about accountability. And also not to beat ourselves up, there's a part of our psyche that is not going to be accountable. It's just not. That's not its function. That is not the function of it. The part of our ego that is often demonized, it has a purpose and a function, and its only job is to protect us. And anything that looks like a threat, that even appears, right, because there's a lot of experiences stored down in your subconscious, right, things and events that have happened have passed. Anything that even this is a very primal part of our psyche, anything that even feels a little bit like that, even though it may not be, it has a knee-jerk reaction, right? Even things that we're seeing from the screen, the mind and the subconscious is having physiological responses. That's why we're screaming. I know I could scream at horror movies, which is I don't mess with the horror movies, but even fright and fear, even sometimes with all this conscious stuff we're reading, sometimes we're going down a rabbit hole of freaking ourselves out. when a lot of our results are here in the here and now, on this side of the dirt, in this 3D plane, in action, getting into action around what you said you value. If you value health, don't beat up on yourself. Press pause. Press pause. When you're stressed, ask yourself, what are you reaching for? What have you been reaching for? Do you actively reprogram yourself? Because these brains are malleable. We're highly impressionable. Even with all our degrees and all of our intelligence, we're easily manipulated. We're easily manipulated into almost like mob-like, sheep-like behavior. It's the truth. I didn't make it up. Take a look. So if we could have some compassion and understanding, so we could be strategic, we might have a better chance of being more effective at changing things so that we don't have to constantly take these big laxatives, right? A change in lifestyle most likely is in order. Could be, I don't know, I'm not there with you. And I don't have a tendency to just give fly-by-night answers to people. There's some general recommendations, but I'm quite sure there's plenty of things that you already know, right? This is the age of information. There's a million T's and other stuff. But if we're going to keep detoxing the retox, detoxing the retox, detoxing the retox, I invite you to have a healthy curiosity. I invite you to have a curiosity and in your quiet moments to relax. Relaxation is underrated. And the clarity and the communication from your own intelligence that comes up when you are relaxed. So you can see things just as they are, not what you wish them to be, right? Not romanticizing yourself and your behavior, taking a full accountability, doing an accounting for what you're in action about and what you haven't been in action about, what you haven't been consistent with, why, and getting into action. Also being accountable to the fact that changing certain habits is uncomfortable. There are many things that I enjoy now that I couldn't stand when I first tasted them. Years ago, I wanted my white rice, my broccoli with garlic sauce. But it used to be this chicken. Now I'm thinking of probably the quality of that chicken from the Chinese restaurant. I thought that was health food. Then when I ate on the flesh, it was all of this grease and oil. Wondering why my face was breaking out. And I was eating every chip in the health food store and in the food co-op. How much of your body is water? Most of your body is what? Water. Is there water in any of those chips? So we're looking for teas, but we never really get to the point of what to leave out. We want to keep adding more stuff in, but what about the stuff that you leave out? What are you leaving out? So I don't tell grown folks what to do. I invite you just to consider, to sit with yourself and quiet. Take some time to deep breathe and quiet, to get really, really quiet. You're more than likely to start to notice the screen that's going on in your mind. It's a picture. It's almost like sometimes you're relaxing on meditation, or if you want to call it, we don't even need a label. And it's almost like this, you're watching a screen in your mind. And after a while, if you keep doing it, you'll start to realize that's been leading you. It's a part of what's been driving. You're following all of these thoughts. That's not intentional living. That's not being intentional around our health or our fitness. It's sweaty. It's uncomfortable. Sometimes it's painful, but there's a difference between safe pain and unsafe pain. There's a process. There is a process. Can you rush the baby? What happens when you rush the baby to be born, right? Before 9 months. It's premature, right? If I take and open certain seeds inside the garden and they're not fully developed, that seed is not ready to go into the ground. So one of the reasons why I encourage people to plant something, because it can really help you relax into the process of something, to have respect for the process, right? There's some things that we do damage to our body sometimes. Certain things we can't get back. A lot of the body is forgiving, but sometimes we do some stuff that you could be sitting looking and doing sun gazing all you want. You might not be able to grow that leg back. I know people are going to try to tell you that you're going to grow your leg back if you do sun gaze, and you just take these spirulina pills, but that's not reality. I'm a realist over here. So I don't have a whole bunch of products for you. I threw my shower caddy in the garbage a long time. And in embracing a simple, beautiful, still abundant lifestyle, you can take a lot of the distraction off the table so you can relax. If you can relax, you can perhaps stop the knee-jerk reaction, the compulsion to keep stuffing and clogging up the body temple. And you can get more leverage out of the teas that you decide to ingest. And then as one of my elders, I mean, I had some folks that just put me on the game real early, earlier than I was willing to accept. But I processed those gems over the years. And one of the things one of my mentors said to me was, she was so on point, years ahead of her time, consistent. Shout out to Tina Sewell, one of my early mentors for several years. She said to me, she said, many people are not going to get the benefit of the teas and the things that they're drinking because they're too clogged. Some people are so clogged and keep clogging, again, trying to detox or retox, that's here first, that you can't even get the full benefit out of the teas that you're drinking, or if you're drinking herbal teas, what I call Caribbean Kool-Aid, right? There's Mabi and the sea moss and the sorrel, so much sugar and white sugar with molasses in it, that now your blood sugar is out of whack. We're not even getting the medicinal qualities of the teas that we're drinking. And so there are many people that are going to advise you and have you buying all this expensive stuff, but if we're not honest and we don't get quiet, we're kind of spinning our wheels. So that's not really my function. And so I even find it frustrating to be doing a whole lot of stuff that doesn't work. I can't do it. It's just not, that's not me. I'm the person that's constantly trying to get rid of stuff. You know, you be trying to travel and have fun. You can't, how you going to run and play with a whole bunch of extra weight on you, and you know what extra weight is for your adipose tissue. Don't get it twisted. I've had some fitness instructors that were big and kicked my behind. So it's not just about what you look like. So I invite you to consider in your quiet moments, are you on purpose? If you're on purpose, even if it's challenging or difficult, you ain't gonna want to eat stuff that's clogging you up, because you want to be present and available so you can dance and so you can have the energy to get in action about what excites you. You're doing nothing holding you back. You're not gonna want to be constipated. And that can be a lot more motivational and more relaxed. You don't have to have the anxiety about getting more product to do stuff. So I'm just coming on today in honor of Nonkululeko, Kahimba, Divine Mother, Madre, Midwife, that has ushered so many spirits here. And when I think of her, I get chills because she exemplifies me. She makes me think a bit, many of us deserve time and attention of present parents. But life is not perfect. We got what we got, right? But there are other people that show up, right? Because our parents are human. There are other people that show up on the scene to be community mamas and community aunties, right? That are on their path and their purpose, and they touch you. They move and they inspire you. So she's an example of, she transitioned out of here, but she was consistently on her purpose. When you're not on your purpose, it's going to annoy you. It's going to irritate you. It's going to irritate you if you're not doing something every day to get into your purpose. And it's for you in your quiet moments. Not about me. If you're a contradiction to things that you say are your core values, it's going to irritate you. You may even start eating out of a sadness and a depression around not getting into action around what's important to you. Just another perspective. If it doesn't resonate, leave it right here. So sending you all some warm, positive vibrations. If you're taking tea to remove parasites, so consider, what are you doing to put the parasites in? Right? Because we panic a lot of times when you're being wheeled into the emergency room, or once you can see the parasites, and many of us, if we can't see it, out of sight is out of mind. We just carry on partying like it's 1999 with a total disregard for the body, right? And we get upset when people who we want the attention of disregard us. But are we disregarding ourselves? Are we disregarding how much food can fit into your stomach? Are you disregarding foods that have shown you what they're going to do to your face? Are you disregarding your body by smoking, things that are unhealthy for you, that are going to jack up your lungs? But yet we want to be regarded highly by others. You listen to the dialogue. You have a dialogue that's self-hating or very harsh and bitter and critical, like mean. Do you have an internal dialogue? Listen. Do you have a meanness in your own internal dialogue, right? That being mean, if somebody talking to you mean, even if that's your own self, that have you trying to numb out. So I invite you to make use of avail yourself of the videos on the cocoon work and relaxation on this channel, and to consider those bitters. Bitters to me are a whole entire food group. I think I have a video on bitters as exclusive on this channel. So I don't have a whole lot of fanciness for you. Sometimes I just come on live because I don't have time all the time to edit these videos. I got so much content. I'm backed up. But, you know, the garden demands my attention. Businesses demands my attention. I come on and I share with things that I think might be helpful. So I invite you to play this while you're decluttering, which can be very helpful, and listening to some things that are very uplifting, and anything that's going to get you into present, into action around what you say is important. Not perfection, but get into action. If you get into action, it may be imperfect, but you're going to get a result. You're going to have something you can say, I need to do a little bit more of this, less of that. You can have some feedback. I can't give somebody some feedback when you're not even getting into action. And then you want to get into consistent action, right? And allow it to be imperfect. Allow yourself to be imperfect. Give yourself a break. Give your parents, you know, a break. You know, they're human beings too. And you are invited to be 1,000% responsible for your life on this side, because I don't know what's going to happen on the other side. So I'm going to respect this side. All right, y'all create a great day, rest of the day on purpose, because you said so. And see how that makes you feel at the end of the day. Subscribe to this channel if you find any kind of value. And let me get some water. All right, see y'all soon.